My name's Ben Fanelli, and this is my story.
In the third period. We're only in the second. And that is a crushing hit. Ben Fanelli is down and not moving. All eyes, though, on Fanelli. His helmet came off, and he is motionless on the ice. Trainer Danny Lebold giving him attention. And he's calling for a stretcher, and it will come out.
There's certain times in everybody's life that they'll never forget. That's certainly one I'll never forget.
I was actually sitting at home with my parents. I was watching the game, and yeah, we saw the hit happen on TV. Didn't really know what to think because of how severe it was.
We were just shocked about how dirty the hit was initially, I guess, and then, you know, when he didn't get up and his teammates took a knee and started praying and stuff like that, things that you hear through the news, it was kind of hit me a little bit more being the same age as him. And
it's scary. It's scary to see a hit like that, especially, I don't know how many games he played, but that's his rookie year. He's a young guy, and the guy who hits him, he's an overager, and I don't know, there's just no spot for that kind of hit in the game.
When I got to Ben, that's a sight that, you know, that it's ingrained in my mind forever. You know, it's just him laying there motionless and seizing, and it was yeah, it was quite a traumatic experience.
They kept pushing me back and not letting me on, and I just wanted to get on and see his face, to know he was alive, because I was terrified that he was dead with the way he was lying on that ice.
His mom was there, and she was just screaming.
How does this happen? You know, they're talking about, at one point they were talking about brain surgery. He was playing hockey 20 minutes ago, so that was a lot to take in at the time. It was pretty terrifying.
Yeah, he was in a critical situation. Like it was touch and go there for a bit, and I remember going in, like having the opportunity to go in and just see him, and you know, he had oxygen on and tubes in, and he was unresponsive at that point, and just holding his hand and just saying, no, it'll be all right. You know, you got to get through, and fortunately he did.
I was living the dream at that point. I was being given the chance to play in the National Hockey League one day. I was going to high school. I was living with a bunch of my best friends. When I first woke up in the hospital, my mom said to me, "Ben, do you know why you're here?" Instantly, I started to tear up because I had absolutely no idea how I had gotten there. Sports were out of the question for the rest of my life. School would be out of the question for at least 2 years, and if I did return to school, I'd need a teaching assistant in all my classes. And lastly, the scariest thing he had to say was that I may be a different person than I was the first 16 years of my life. So, again, going from thinking the next step was the National Hockey League to being told you're never going to be able to play sports again was amazingly tough to hear.
Every time I see Ben walk towards me, just how he defied the odds to probably live on that night, and then defy the odds to come back, and then be the type of positive role model that he is. I don't know how you do that.
My feeling was he was never going back. In my mind, never in a million years was he going back.
I don't know what it was in my mind that made me think there was always a chance. And who knows what the odds were. They definitely weren't good. I don't know what it was, even looking back, that gave me a sense of, you can still do this.
He's that kind of guy. Fanel's is the kind of guy that not a lot of guys could have done what he's done today, especially recovering from that hit.
He was off for 2 years, and he was raring to go back long before that. So then he started his whole headstrong and did the triathlon and the bike with Lance Armstrong. He did a lot to prove that he was capable of going back physically, mentally, the whole bit. So he really worked on it for those 2 years that he didn't play.
You know, being so close to death essentially is where he was at that night, and to be able to bounce back just shows kind of the caliber of person he is and his passion towards both hockey and you know, life in general.
There were definitely ups and downs the entire journey through. Times where one day would be, I feel incredible and I think I'm going to be able to play one day, to the next day being, there's no chance I'm ever going to be able to play again. Why am I working so hard to come back when the chances are so slim? And it would go back and forth and back and forth.
The intestinal fortitude that Ben had to get back, if you could somehow bottle that and put, you know, sell it to people, you'd be a millionaire, you know.
One of the main reasons I trained for the triathlon after the injury was to prove to myself, but also prove to my parents, that if the slim chance comes that I'll ever be able to play sports again, that don't worry, I'm going to be able to do it. So showing really my two parents that I could push my body and redline it and get to that peak of exhaustion was proof to myself, but proof to them that, hey, you know what, I'm okay, and I've healed and I'm ready to tackle things in life again. You don't have to be the best player or have the most points or be the biggest or have the most fights. You don't have to have all the skills and bells and whistles, but to be a leader, you just have to have the integrity and optimism and courage that we can all have if we choose to. Watching 23 of my best buddies play in front of almost 7,000 people on a Friday night, and me being up top, not even having a chance to be a part of it, is something that really hurt.
And we've got another warrior to talk about, Ben Fanelli. Here's Ben Fanelli getting hit, and he come back. Yesterday he was in a triathlon, and here he comes out right now, and he does this to make money, and he's coming back to play again for Headstrong.
That night that he came back and played might have been as emotional as the night he was carried out of here. That, you know, obviously seeing him play and skate out there for the first time with a letter on him, and I'm pretty sure there wasn't a dry eye in the building when he skated out there.
Before they even finished saying his name, the whole audience was standing up and giving him a standing ovation.
Quickly on the puck is Fanelli. Rangers have an odd man rush. Here's Fanelli slowing down. He's got the trailer. There's the pass. Oh! What a play by the Rangers!
Then when I skated out, that line was just flat. The thoughts going through my head, it was just as if there was nothing, no air moving in and out of my lungs, no thoughts going through my mind. It was just an awe moment of pause and fulfillment and gratitude. How my story can help others is that going through that journey, it was no other skill needed other than adaptability and resilience.
Whenever he turns a corner and I see him, I personally get a zap of energy that, you know, because I know where we were on that fateful night and all the things we went through, and to where he is now, it's a miracle.
If we can approach adversity, look it in the eyes and shake its hand and find a way to deal with it and overcome it, at that point you can walk through life not being scared or nervous about much, because at that point, in a sense, you're unstoppable.